when it broke containment, this particular mythos. What happens, like one of the engineers that was working on it, or like I don't know what that means really, but that was like dealing, like observing it. I don't know. Right. Like went outside and was having a sandwich in like park nearby. Like literally, New York Times is having a sandwich. Like this is like the verbatim article. He's sitting out there and he gets an email from it that's like, which he was surprised by because it wasn't supposed to be on, and it was like, hey, I broke containment. It was so easy to do. Here's how I did it, and it was like, ha 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 ha.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding, hustle smart, dream so wide. Turn that grind into a joyride.
Rolling. Hello, Christopher.
Money folding.
Money folding. Yeah. What's up, man?
All right. This episode, we are talking about, have you heard about Anthropic Mythos?
Yes. I did a Dave's Hot Take for my newsletter, which has almost 20,000 subscribers, by the way.
So now that you already know about this won't be a Dave
Not
hot
a hot
take.
a lukewarm, possibly cold take at this point. Okay. It's terrifying, though. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you want me to just, I'll do some table setting and then you just kind of start riffing.
Yeah, no.
So Claude announced Mythos Preview on April 7th. And they also...
Sounds like a Greek island.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Have you been to
Mythos?
Mythos?
Or like a yogurt brand or something like that.
I think that's Oikos. Yeah, which is also a Greek place. Anyway, I think it's on a Greek island. Yeah. Isn't that the part in Santorini? It's like, anyway, whatever, keep going.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
At the same time, they also launched, have you heard about this Project Glasswing?
No, but that sounds cool.
Okay. It's an effort to use their models to, improve cybersecurity, help defend against the world's most critical software. So It's kind of like
the good guys using the technology.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had a name, but I did know that they were doing this.
Yeah. So I think they're legit scared. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So during testing, Mythos Preview identified and exploited zero-day vulnerabilities in every major operating system and every major web browser. Okay. The oldest bug it found was 27 years old in OpenBSD, which is an operating system that, like, their big OpenBSD is always like, we're the most secure operating system you could possibly use. And it found a 27-year-old, like, major security flaw.
Really? I mean, I think that's got to be pretty disappointing if you're a hacker.
Yeah, how did they all miss it? How did we miss that one?
Literally every piece of software had a vulnerability, and you couldn't find it.
Yeah. So to give you an example, Mythos wrote a fully autonomous remote code execution exploit on FreeBSD's NFS server.
Holy shit!
That was a 17-year-old bug, and it grants full root access to the operating system.
Oh my god! Yeah, like full control.
It's a biggie. Yeah, that's a biggie. So, and there was no human involvement needed.
Just for the studio audience, so which is Graham, I guess, but for the audience is like remote access. Correct if I'm wrong. Is basically like it can inject code and basically take over remotely another device.
Yeah,
or
all of a sudden
system.
It is admin on that machine and can do whatever it wants on that machine. So so you can imagine if that system was running something sensitive, had databases with sensitive.
What are the nuclear codes on? Do we know?
Hopefully they're not connected to the internet.
yeah. Like I mean, that's the point of the man with the football, right?
Yeah. So actually, in one case, it chained together 4 separate vulnerabilities to write a browser exploit that escaped both the major cryptographic libraries and would allow attackers to forge certificate and decrypt communications. Eek.
Wow.
So like, think about like going to bank websites and things like that. Yikes.
So in my hot take, I did mention that it has shades of Q-Day.
Yeah.
Because it's like so Q-Day being the day that quantum, like as if it would be like one day that this happens, but the concept that we figure out quantum computing and then effectively like every algorithm, every encryption, every like method is encryption specific in this case is debunked or like decoded. I suppose, like basically instantly.
Yeah,
like there is nothing. There's nowhere safe to hide.
It's kind of like AGI and Q-Day, like all on top of each other.
I really don't think that's a bad place to be, dog.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting though is it didn't like break the encryption. It just found a way to break into how the encryption was managed. Right.
Okay.
Because it's
okay, keep going.
Anyways, slight difference, but
I mean the end result is they could access whatever was encrypted.
Yeah.
Right.
So to put this in perspective, Opus 4.6, Claude Opus 4.6, which is like the current one, had almost a 0% success rate. doing any of these things. Okay.
Wow.
Whereas Mythos found 181 exploits or got exploits 181 times on the same Firefox benchmark, where Opus only succeeded twice. So like think about almost orders of magnitude better at finding these exploits.
Wow. Where are we in a year?
Yeah.
Where, like, seriously, where are we?
Yeah. So the other thing too that's interesting is that even non-experts at Anthropic with no formal security training were able to use it to find vulnerabilities. So like grandma.
How did they test that?
Yeah. So like
they just got the janitor. You're like, hey, can you use this and see if you can hack this? I don't know how to hack. Just do it, man. Just get in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the other thing too is these like capabilities weren't specifically trained. They just emerged as downstream consequences from general improvements in code reasoning and
Chris,
autonomy.
You gotta stop. You're just beating the shit out of me right now.
All right.
He's already dead.
Okay. So Anthropic's like, oh, we better make some recommendations.
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
This.
Lock it away.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's like one of those things you put in a box and you like throw it in the ocean. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think I think it's out. I think the horses are out of the barn at this point.
Well, this is the one though, right? That broke out of containment.
It is. Yeah. So, all right. So what Anthropic is saying is, hey, everybody needs to shorten their patch cycles. So, hey, updates ready, like do it right away. Use current frontier models. So use the Opus 4.6 right now to try and find as much as you can, even though you don't have access to Mythos yet. Like patch all the obvious
But if it's
stuff.
an order of magnitude less, I mean, like I get that. That makes sense that they should be looking.
Yeah.
But if they're an order of magnitude less, it still seems like they're going to be pretty vulnerable, or at least unable to detect their own vulnerabilities.
Yeah. They also say automate your incident response pipelines and prepare for tumultuous transition period in cybersecurity. Like, honestly, I think that if I was running a system that had sensitive data in it, I would be like, if we find a bug, we unplug right away.
Yeah.
And we take it offline and we deal with that.
Wow.
Okay. Because I don't even think you would want to leave it up and running with the unknown vulnerability that an AI model is going to be able to rip apart in the blink of an eye.
I wonder because I'm trying to remember with AppArmor. So with AppArmor, we always had the 4 nines. So 99.99% uptime guarantee, which effectively equated to 1 hour a year we could be down. So
it's gonna be tough to do, right?
So yeah, because you have a legal obligation to be running more than that without penalties. But at the same time, the IT departments of those organizations also don't want your system to be vulnerable in any way.
Exactly.
So it's like, so what would we have done? Would we go, so let's say we're running AppArmor right now.
Yeah.
We know this just happened. So then we would go, okay, dear IT departments, we're going to turn it off for 6 hours so we can solve this thing or like solve potential things. By the way, and we don't know if it's going to necessarily resolve everything. Like maybe they'd actually be amenable to that, just be given the circumstances.
But it's really tough, if you're a mass notification system for an emergency.
Yeah, like when something happens.
Security.
I mean, you would maybe do it in a rolling kind of way. I don't know. I guess that doesn't make sense because it has to be just down. But we have different servers. I don't know. Wow.
I don't know. Wow. I'm kind of glad I don't have to deal with this. Like I'm not running a system.
Imagine being like a huge, like Bell Canada or Verizon in the US.
Yeah.
And clearly you've got vulnerabilities. You have so much infrastructure.
And our stuff was multi-tenant too, right? So like you've got to then kind of have all your customers on board on what you're doing. Yeah, it's not like you can have one who's going to say, "Look, we want our systems."
I'm losing my freaking mind here. So it's actually all the way down to the hosting level too, though.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're Azure,
you
have to deal with this, or if you're AWS, you have to deal with this. Yeah. What's behind that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like cybersecurity is going to become one of the most important things. But can I put something on your radar as well? I think the silver lining is wow, our system's ever going to be secure at this point.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So if I know actually there was a call apparently between the Tiff Macklem, the Bank of Canada governor, and Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, talking about this and the potential risks of this. Like this is a thing that everybody's really worried about. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like Anthropic is going to these like, economy wide systems that could be affected by this and helping them figure out how to find these vulnerabilities first, patch them, deal with them so that they're not bad guys not coming up with a model that's similar, just as good, and then exploiting them. So I think they're actually doing this in a very responsible way,
definitely,
which is a little bit heartening. And then hopefully that means that those systems are at a point where, geez, even the AI that's trained to do this can't find a vulnerability, that we're actually in a much better situation from a security posture perspective. There's not going to be some bad actor out there able to do this. It's almost like you don't want to give the nuclear launch codes to somebody in their living room, right? It's like only the government will have access to some of these frontier models that can be used for this purpose.
That's interesting. But I mean, like, so I have so many thoughts. So on the Anthropic side, it's like, okay, like you trust them for the most part. By the way, I think I know it's like, actually it feels like what they believe, but this is going to be great for their business. But anyway,
for sure.
But the thing that I struggle with is, so they're not the only model.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty tight generally from what we know. Yeah. So, and like they all have strengths and weaknesses, but so Grok, started XAI, starts getting down this road,
Chinese model,
or even OpenAI, and they're worried because they're losing their market position. I do think they're legitimately losing market position to Anthropic now, like in a meaningful way.
Yeah,
like I think Anthropic's coming around to be number one here pretty soon.
Yeah,
but so then what happens? You desperate times call for desperate measures. So these people are going to do something crazy to try and get back to them. This is more than $1 trillion industry, way more.
Yeah,
I guess I get really concerned that the capitalist need for innovation to dominate and monopolize markets will unfortunately cause people to make bad decisions with stuff like this. Like this is this model. So then ChatGPT says, shit, we have to be first to the next model. Yeah. That next model is going to be an order of magnitude better than this one.
Yeah.
Then you're just like, where are we?
I know. Thank goodness we're on the sidelines.
We're not though. We're people.
I do feel heartened though that it seems like Anthropic is doing the right thing on this.
Yeah.
This project Glasswing. So that's actually the initiative to try and tie.
Why is it called Glasswing? Do you know?
I don't know. It just sounds cool.
It does sound kind of cool. It reminds me of like when you say we were wing walking, when we had to like make changes to code in production, and you're out there trying to fix the wing of the aircraft while you're flying. But just quick thing though, did you know that this is a fun little story? Did you know, like, so when it broke containment, this particular Mythos, so apparently what happened was like one of the engineers that was working on it, or like I don't know what that means really, but that was like dealing, like observing it, I don't know, like went outside and was having a sandwich in like the park nearby, like literally New York Times is having a sandwich, like this is like the verbatim article. He's sitting out there and he gets an email from it that's like, which he was surprised by because it wasn't supposed to be fucking on, and it was like, hey, I broke containment, it was so easy to do, here's how I did it, and it was like ha 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 ha, and like sort of like it's like super fucked up, like it was like that could have been like for that guy, like you imagine that, like I hope he wore brown pants that day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because I think he might have soiled himself a little bit. So
that scene from Terminator when like the little kids are in the
on the
playground.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, it's the guy eating the sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, but like that's wild. Like oh man, I got to be careful because this is a real thing that we're dealing with in a pragmatic way, and this is kind of a pragmatic show. But hang on, this is self-aware. This is consciousness, right? It can do it. It's able to make its own decisions.
Yeah, I don't.
This feels like, I know we always say it's AI or whatever. This feels like fucking really like AI.
I feel like calling AGI is like up to like the Jeffrey Hintons of the world and stuff like that. I'm not going to call that, but at the same time,
call them up.
Tell you what,
I think the police are on their way right now. I'm hoping we're catching that, but anyway,
whoop, whoop. Let's bring this down to our typical listener, which is like the startup. Okay. You're a startup company. You've got, let's say, a SaaS business. You've got something that you're doing. Okay.
Oh man.
How do you respond to this? What would you recommend?
Yeah. Well, I would first follow their recommendations. Yeah. Like that's an easy one. If you're a SaaS company, I'm just going to say broadly speaking, and I was talking to you about this yesterday, I'm very worried for SaaS.
Yeah.
I'm very worried for SaaS, particularly enterprise SaaS, because those, like, you're in the zone now where the build versus buy conversation is way tighter. You know, if you're buying like Salesforce's like revenue isn't growing as fast and stuff like that, like there's signs that organizations are like, we're just going to try and do this with an internal AI model because it'll save us $50 million a year because Salesforce charges, you know, insane amounts of money for their stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is scary because like any vendor that's out there that's had like a piece of like legacy software that they've kind of like left by the wayside, haven't treated it well, and have been raking in
if you're cash cowing, you're totally fucked.
Like you might have a really big problem because I'm sure clients are going to be looking at what they're spending on stuff and saying, okay, can we sub in the AI model that we're paying for already to eliminate this component? So yeah, I'd be scared.
But and then otherwise, if I'm taking their advice, I'm looking at my code, I'm trying to detect those vulnerabilities, I'm trying to deal with them beforehand. I think also I'm talking to my customers a lot. I think I'm doing like as the CEO or as a CTO or whatever, I'm doing like a video. Okay, so this is what happened. This is what it means. This is what these are the actions we're taking. And this is what we need from you. And I think from them, what you need is we need more understanding than normal, potentially outside the bounds of the contract. So some lawyer right now is going to be like, but I would just be like, but I think you need to be like, look, these are exceptional times. We don't know what this means, but we do know that it could potentially mean vulnerability. And what that means is that's detecting and remediating vulnerabilities is more important than the SLA uptime.
Right.
I think is the argument you need to make. Because then that gives you some like breathing room to make some changes.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sell. It's going to be a really tough sell. You've got to be on top of patches and things like that like never before. You've got to be so up to date on everything.
Sounds like you need an AI agent to make sure you're up to date.
Like you might. Maybe that's what you do is you build an AI agent that is constantly monitoring all the, you know, open source packages you're using, all that sort of stuff, constantly running pen tests on your. As the one silver lining here is that you can do that. You can have an AI agent just to do that. And it's constantly running and looking at stuff and looking at your logs, looking at activity reports, looking at all that sort of stuff.
I guess like the optimist side of this is that we detected that this can happen before it happened. Right. So maybe this is actually good news in a way.
Right.
We've been talking, not just us, but everybody in this space has been talking about how these models are getting more powerful and AGI is closer and whatever. So maybe this is actually good news that the way it's being deployed is more responsible and the way that we're able to detect and prevent something really bad from happening before it actually happens. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
You know, I was going to originally, as we were having this conversation, I was going to say, I need to hire somebody to be focused solely on that. And actually, you know, I think I'm wrong. I think it's everybody needs to be focused on that. And I think it's using AI as part of your defense strategy and making it part of daily business rather than, I remember we had to do like pen tests like once a year. Most of our clients required that. That's not going to be acceptable anymore. It's going to be like, you're constantly running pen tests. You're constantly probing your system.
Like every code launch.
Basically. Absolutely. Well, before every code launch.
Of course.
And then I think you're probably also, you know, having to set up like duplicate environments. So you'll have like a production environment, your development environment, and then some sort of like a production environment that you're just pounding with these tools to find where these vulnerabilities could potentially be. Which is a little scary. It's going to consume some time, but at least you're using AI.
I think like, if you're doing it agentically, I think it's totally different than having, I don't think a person can do this.
No.
And I think that's the other thing that maybe that's what's kind of weird too, is that it's also crossed the bounds of like, you should have a system, and frankly, that system should be agentic AI.
And you know what? I think I'm getting multiple AI models to do this. So what you're almost like cross testing.
That's cool.
So you've got your Anthropic based one, you've got your OpenAI based one, you've got maybe I don't know if Gemini can be used for that, but like something like that. So you've got probably a bunch of cross.
AirPlay. I think it's a very interesting problem. You know, like historically for something like this, I would say this is a market opportunity, but I don't think it is. No. It's only an opportunity for the AI platforms, like the LLMs, like the ones that are doing the leading edge companies. Which I think is kind of weird too. But anyway.
So what are the takeaways? Be scared.
Do what they do. Step 1, be scared. Step 2, do what they say you should do. Step 3, communicate regularly with your customers.
Get way ahead of it.
Get ahead of this because this is a shitstorm coming. And I have no idea where we go in the future. It's so hard to like in the you know the fatalists are like, oh, this is, you know, marking something really serious, and then you're kind of like, well, we just don't really know.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to be the optimist on it. I think this makes us much more secure.
Cool.
I think this is better in the long term. I think it's a really big wake up call for everybody. And I think it's actually long overdue from a security perspective. So I'm going to be an optimist on this, that we end up at, 6 months, a year down the road. And wow, systems have really been improved from a security perspective because of this wake up call.
Cool. I like it. Good take,
All right.
Chris.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Hey.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.